Okay. Hello, my name is Richard Merritt. This is New Hampshire Hostas, and this video is on Fall Hosta Garden Cleanup 101. So, do you need to clean the foliage off your hostas in the fall? Yes, you do. If you didn't, I wouldn't be here making this video. Why do you have to do it? You want to get rid of the disease that may be harbored in that foliage. You want to get it off your garden, into the compost pile, or even off the property. So, when do you do it? Well, it's October 1st, or October 4th, I should say, here in New Hampshire, and we haven't had a frost yet. You can see that the garden is still green. Some of them have begun to vernalize a little bit, but for the most part they're just as they were all summer. At the end of September or the beginning of October, for here in New Hampshire, it's going to vary where you are. If you're down south or in Colorado, it's going to be a little different for you. But basically, before you get a frost, but you know it's coming, you can start to clean up your garden. Now what do? You just take the foliage, cut it off with the pruners, and throw it away. Get it away from your garden, as I said, because it can harbor disease. One of the things that it can harbor is foliar nematode. And they appear in the foliage as a little line parallel to the leaf vein in August or September. Excuse me. And they're never going to kill the plant, but they are unsightly, and if you don't control them, they can increase and be ever more present in your garden each year, and you wouldn't want to give them to any of your friends when you trade plants. So by cutting off the live foliage, because the nematode is actually in the leaf at this time of year, you may actually be controlling the foliar nematode. The American Hosta Society just recently published information because they're studying this problem, and they concluded that there's a very safe organic method, and that is just as I described. In September or October, if you see the presence of foliar nematode, cut all of the foliage off and destroy it, put it in the rubbish, get it off your property. The new foliage that comes out should be foliar nematode free. Okay, so that's the first time of year that you can do it. The advantages are that you can get an early start on cleaning up your garden. For all you obsessive compulsive who can't sleep before your garden is cleaned up, and you know who you are, it's not me, but you're out there, and you can get a good jump on it, and you'll be sure to get your garden clean before the snow flies, especially if you've got a lot to do. The other advantage is that you may control the foliar nematode somewhat. The disadvantage is that you have reduced the photosynthetic period a little bit, and so you're not storing as much food in the plant crown, and it's that storage in the plant crown that determines how large the hosta is when it comes out the following year. And we all know with hosta, it's all about size. Who's got the biggest hosta in their garden? Who's got the biggest leaf? Okay, so that's the first opportunity you have. The second opportunity you have is immediately after the first frost. Once the foliage is frosted, you will see it immediately go brown that next day. The color, the life comes out of the foliage, although the foliage will still stand erect and upright for a few days. At this point, you can go in, you're still going to have to prune, you're going to have to physically cut and pull it away. But you have maximized your photosynthetic period. You've stored as much food as possible. You're not going to get any foliar nematode control because in theory they would have migrated down into the ground before this. But it's still pretty early. You're getting a jump before the snow flies, and you're assured that you're going to hopefully get your garden cleaned up before that time. The third opportunity that you have, and as a procrastinator, this is when I do it, is a week to 10 days, even 2 weeks after the heavy frost. The foliage has gone brown, it is completely collapsed, and an abscission layer has formed at the crown, allowing you to come in and just lift that foliage off. No cutting involved. In fact, you don't even have to bend over it. You can just rake the foliage off and lightly remove it from your garden. There again, destroy it, thoroughly compost it before it goes back into your garden, or even throw it away in the rubbish. All right, so those are the 3 periods that you can do it. The last period is the easiest by far, and it's going to take the least amount of man hours. But you're cutting it close in some areas like Colorado where you get those early snows. You may get caught not having time to clean up your garden before the snow flies. But I'll leave it up to each of you to determine where you are in the country and what works for you and when you need to do it. So that's step A, cleaning your garden. Step B is vole control. Voles are a type of mouse that during the winter are looking for food. During the summer, they actually prefer to eat things like green grass. But when the green grass is gone, they go looking for things underground. Food stored in the crown of the hosta is ideal for them. They think it's delectable. So what do you do to control that? It's castor oil. And on our site, we have a video, and we also have written text that you can get the directions on how to do it. We'll just tell you that you want to use castor oil that has not been descented, which it usually is in the pharmacy. And then you're going to mix it with liquid detergent. But those directions are all in the video and on the site, so I'm not going to dwell on it here. So that's step B, vole control. Step C, or the third step, is to mulch it. So how much mulch do you need? And do you need to mulch? Yes, you do need to mulch, because in a severe winter like we just had, you can actually get crown death because the crown is too close to the surface and it isn't protected. As it was explained to me, as a hosta ages and grows, the crown continues to expand and actually pushes up through the ground. In nature, leaves would be continually falling and decaying and building up that mulch, and that crown would stay covered. But of course, we clean our gardens, we rake the debris away, and that process doesn't happen. So we have to mimic nature and put down a mulch so that in the severest winter like we just had, we don't get that crown death. How much mulch do you put down? The rule of thumb that I go by is annuals should have 1 inch of mulch, perennials 2 inches of mulch, and trees and shrubs 3 inches of mulch. So for the hosta, a 1 to 2 inch layer of mulch, 1 inch on the low side for the minis, I would say, and the large hosta like Empress Wu, Gentle Giant, Blue Angel, they can all take 2 inches fine, and they're probably better off with it. So depending on how your garden went this year and when you last mulched, you have to judge for yourself. Do I have enough mulch? If not, put it down in the fall. And just think, well, if you did it in the fall, then you're not going to have to do it in the spring, so you've got more time to plant. So that's it. I hope this answers your questions. I hope it helps you. Have a great winter, if there is such a thing, and look forward to seeing you in the spring. Happy gardening.